Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glory Glory Manchester United podcast with me, Kyle Quinn, on this Wimbledon men's final Sunday. And joining me today is Brush. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, Carl. Not too bad. Like you, I watched the final as well. That was probably the highlight of the day, to be fair.
Yeah, it was. And over here in Ireland, there was a big Gaelic football match on as well, which I enjoyed thoroughly.
Mm.
Um, right, lots to talk about, as always, lots to get our teeth into in terms of Man United. There always is. There's never any shortage of things to talk about. Um, and we'll start with the breaking news this afternoon that Harry Maguire has been stripped of the captaincy, something which we've seen coming for a very long time now. And Harry Maguire released a statement on Twitter, a very lengthy statement, and then the club seemed forced into making their own statement. Then it's very unusual for such a big deal to be made of something like this, but you know Harry's PR team work around the clock, so I'm not that surprised that he's trying to save face. And according to Sky Sports, he's exploring all options now, including maybe leaving the club, which we're also not surprised about. And West Ham have shown an interest, according to what we've been told in the latest reports. So, what did you make of the news then that broke today, Brush?
I mean, it was inevitable, wasn't it? It was always coming. It was only a matter of time. Regarding Harry's comments on Twitter, initially I thought it was a bit strange because we've seen captaincy changes before without a statement being put out. But then again, when it comes to Harry Maguire at Manchester United, it's quite polarizing, and I don't think there was a situation in which he could win either way, to be honest. Because if he didn't address it at any given opportunity going forward, the media were bound to press him on it. So I guess him and his team probably thought it's better to get ahead of it by putting out a statement.
And
Um,
I think United were caught off guard with that statement. Um,
yeah,
um, so his statement reads as follows: After discussions with the manager today, he informed me he's changing captain. He outlined his reasons to me, and whilst I'm personally extremely disappointed, I will continue to give my all every time I wear the shirt. So I wanted to make a massive thank you to the Man United fans for all their brilliant support whilst I've been wearing the armband. Since the day I took on the role 3.5 years ago, it's been a huge privilege to lead Manchester United and one of the proudest moments of my career to date. It's one of the greatest honours in club football. I've done everything possible I could to help United be successful on and off the field. I'll always be grateful to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for giving me the responsibility, and I wish whoever now takes it on every success, and they will have my full support, Harry. Yeah, like I say, I find it very unusual to make these for him to make that statement upon getting the news from the manager today. Um, I just I just find everything around Maguire when it comes to media reports. It always seems to be fed to them by his PR team, and here his PR team are working again. Um, not never been Harry Maguire's biggest fan, to be honest with you, as you can probably tell,
hmm
Brush. Um, but I don't really don't think that statement was necessary at all. Do you?
yeah, no. Again, that was my initial thoughts. I did think it was a bit unnecessary, but like I explained, with Harry Maguire, that £80 million fee, Manchester United, the captaincy, there's no getting away from it. Um, so I just think he was in a position where there was no winning really. So even if he didn't address it, I think he would have been pressed on it at every given opportunity in interviews going forward. So I can only assume him and his PR team sat down and thought, all right, how do we get ahead of this? And this is the strategy they came up with.
Well, what I would have expected, like any other time there's been a recent change of captain at Man United, is that the manager will announce it at a press conference, and then the
Yeah.
club will put out their own statement on the website,
hmm
and that's it. And that's it. I've never encountered this situation before, where the player who's losing the captaincy makes a public statement before the manager has, the club has, or the new captain has. I've just never come across this before, but I'm not surprised. Like I said, Harry's
Yeah.
PR machine are always on the ball.
Off the top of my head as well, I don't really recall a time when a captain losing the armband has put out any kind of statement. But I could be wrong on that.
Me neither.
Mm,
I know Granit Xhaka, did he lose the captaincy at Arsenal? I can't, and I don't follow Arsenal closely enough to know if he put
yeah.
out a statement ahead of the club, but
I think he did at one stage. Do you remember when they were booing him and he kind of walked off the pitch and threw the armband on the floor? So yeah, I think he did, and then he won it back though. I think. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So we all knew it was coming. Um, his days as captain were numbered because, I mean, prior to Lissandro Martinez's injury, he'd only made 5 Premier League starts.
Yeah.
Um, and given that his future is in doubt at the club, there's no way he was going to continue as captain. Now, Ten Hag is yet to make an announcement, and it's, according to the reliable journalist, it's not going to be done before they fly out to the US. Um, Now we all just assume that it's going to be Bruno, but is there a possibility of it being a complete surprise?
Could be. I mean, personally, for me, I would have earmarked Martinez as the captain, just because of the fight that I saw in him in his debut season, along with the fact that he's 25, going on 26. So long term, I think that would be the best solution. I'm not in favour of captaincies changing all the time. And obviously Bruno's 29, Casemiro's 31, who would be the other sort of people in the mix. So for that reason, I probably would go Martinez. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he kept it on Bruno, seeing as he's already been vice and had that role for large part of the season.
Yeah, given that he selected him as his, on-field captain last season, it's difficult to
Yeah,
imagine it
that he
going
would stray
anywhere
away
else.
from that. Yeah, yeah, and obviously now David's gone as well. So in terms of hierarchy, all the other experienced players are sort of out of contention.
But I fully expect Casemiro or Martinez to be made the
Hmm.
vice captain.
Yeah, that would
Um,
be the smart move. Yeah,
Not that they'll be needed very much because Bruno plays every single game.
pretty much.
Yeah. So in regards to Maguire's departure, that looks tricky to me. Not because his wages have gone up because United have qualified for the Champions
Yeah,
League.
yeah.
Clubs like West Ham will be reluctant to match those wages, and United are demanding £50 million. That ain't going to happen, is
It's
it?
crazy. I can only assume it's some kind of weird strategy by where if you like second hand car salesman, the price, the sticker price is never the price you actually get. So I can only assume the 50 million valuation is to sort of get 30. You aim over, you price it over what it's worth, and then you negotiate down to a more reasonable fee, perhaps.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
United must know that's, yeah, completely unreasonable.
Oh, it's ridiculous, especially considering his age. He's 30 years old. The wages he's on, like you mentioned, he was on 190, and I believe there's a small increase because we qualified for the Champions League, which
I,
probably
I,
takes it over 200.
I have a feeling he keeps briefing that he wants to stay because he wants that 10 million payoff to leave the club because he'll have to take a wage cut to go to West
Yeah,
Ham
I
or
mean, listen, that's down to the individual, isn't it? We've seen players, Christian Pulisic move from Chelsea to AC Milan, and he's taken a pay cut. It just depends on the desire of the player, how much he wants to play, I guess.
do you also think this is Ten Hag playing his hand, basically hinting at Harry that you're not part of my plans, so
I
it's
mean, to
time to
be
leave?
honest, I think we've seen those hints throughout last season. Even
Is
when we've
this
had an injury crisis, the fact that he opted to use Luke
Luke Shaw?
Shaw ahead of Maguire was telling for me.
Do you think this is the final nail though in the coffin for Harry Maguire and
Yeah,
Ten Hag?
listen, if we were better run as an institution, I think this would be a lot smoother, and we probably would have a clear idea of what's happening. But just like the goalkeeping debacle, I expect this one to go all the way down to the wire.
Yeah,
Probably won't get any clarity until deadline day.
yeah. United always, not only do they make very late signings in August, but they also try to they scramble to make some departures in August as well in order to get people
Yeah.
off the books. Um, even the Daniel James departure, where he actually made a profit, was very, very last minute, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and I think that you know because that offset the Ronaldo move as well, didn't it? So yeah,
Yeah, I fully expect United to make a couple of big sales here because they're more desperate than they are in any other summer to get some fees. Um,
definitely.
so I don't. It seems from what we're being told by the journalists who cover United, McTominay is not transfer listed per se, but if
Yeah,
a big enough offer comes in, then he'll be released.
yeah, that's totally understandable for me. I mean, he wouldn't be the top of my list for sales. Um, this is probably our last chance to get anything back for Fred, considering he's got 12 months left on his contract. Um, Probably more of a saleable asset as well. So I'd
Yeah,
probably, as weird as it sounds, even though I think he's a better player, I'd get rid of Fred first before McTominay.
I think that's a cert now. Even Fabrizio Romano says Fred will leave the club this summer.
Yeah.
We also there's interest from Fulham, there's interest from Saudi Arabia,
Hmm.
and I think there's interest from Serie A as well, maybe. Um, yeah, so and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Mourinho was interested in taking McTominay to Roma, but I don't think they could afford the fee that other clubs might offer for him.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing, isn't it? And if you don't get a good fee, then I don't see the point in selling because he's just a
and,
rotational option anyway. So
but in today's market, McTominay is probably a £30 million player.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, probably.
if United could get that, then they
Yeah.
should take it. Fully expect Dean Henderson to go as well,
Yes.
between 25 and 30 million. As soon as that, I think, as soon as Onana comes in through the door, and Henderson
And at this rate, who
will.
knows? Who knows when he's coming in through the door? Because for the past week we've been hearing, oh, it's almost done. It's the final stages. Saw a tweet by Romano a bit earlier today saying it's 99.9% done. This guy is just waiting, like just for the tap in. Filippo Inzaghi.
No, it's just it's like I said to you, it's becoming tedious.
Yeah,
It's been close for a week now. It's closer than
yeah,
close.
yeah, yeah,
99.9%
yeah. It's
done,
crazy.
and could be announcement tomorrow. Could be announcement the next day. You're like
Hmm.
just a few minor details to sort out, and you're like, oh my god, this is by the time they announce it, it's not even going to be exciting anymore. You know,
Exactly. Yeah, we've seen this before, time and time again, haven't we? United just suck the life and joy out of any kind of transfer dealings.
yeah, they do. You know, it's but nevertheless, we will be absolutely delighted to get a keeper that
Mm.
fits Ten Hag's
Hmm.
philosophy, and will certainly improve how we play out from the back
Yep.
and start our attacks.
Also, I heard we're linked to a Japanese keeper as well
Yeah,
as a backup. I don't know anything about him. I've been seeing
Suzuki.
quotes. Yeah, yeah. Zion Suzuki, 20 years old. Um, I, I hear it's around 5 million, so I've got no problem with that. But yeah, I don't know
That
too much about it.
if it's 5 million, that should be straightforward then. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's not exactly a
And
budget
that,
buster,
yeah,
that one.
yeah, exactly. And then the guy that we did earmark or have a look at a bit earlier in the window, Carl, Bart Verbruggen, he's gone to Brighton. Um,
Which means he will be the best keeper in the world next season.
yeah, and we already know their track record with talent ID, so that's one definitely to keep an eye on. It's going to annoy me that if he develops really well, all of a sudden,
Yeah, but we gotta be happy about what we've got.
yeah.
Um, do you know what's just a sidebar a wee bit here? Do you know what's worrying? The fact that in the morning papers, I know that's not always reliable, that Bernardo Silva could go to Barcelona and Frankie De Jong could go the opposite way. Now, how
Oh
annoying would that
wow,
be?
wow. I mean, listen, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what can I really say? Like, yeah, I can't even hate on Frankie if you were to go there now. Like, it would make sense,
And we'd fit in perfectly to
and he'd
Guardiola's
fit in
system.
perfectly. Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, but we've got to be happy with what we've got, though.
yeah, yeah. That's what it is. We have to look at our own issues, and honestly, the best signing we could make is a change of ownership.
Oh, let's not even go there.
But again, like who knows when that might be? Christmas might roll around sooner.
We'll get to it at the end of the show because
Yeah.
that's where it belongs now.
Hmm.
I'm afraid until something actually concrete happens. Um, yeah. So we fully expect Bruno Fernandes to replace Maguire.
Yep.
Um, and I think it would be best for all parties if Maguire is moved on in the summer because he's fifth choice. He's no longer captain. He needs to keep his England place, and I think West Ham under
I'll
David
tell you
Moyes
what.
would be a great fit.
I'll tell you what. If his England place was under threat, it might have motivated him to actively look for a move. But we know with Southgate there, like his place is guaranteed, right? It's probably why he's resting easy.
Um, well, I thought Gareth Southgate picked players on form. That's what we were told by Gareth. And
I mean, that's what we're told.
they, did Gareth not say in? I'm talking like I know him now. Did he not say in a press conference that uh, players need to be playing for their clubs?
Hmm. Hmm.
And referencing Maguire and Calvin Phillips that they won't get away with it forever. So that's what we're banking on as United fans.
Yeah,
Because we need to not only do we want Deadwood to leave the club, we also need to recoup fees this summer in order to buy players, especially a striker.
absolutely. Yeah. You need to balance the books. It's a lost art, Old Trafford. Something that we need to start doing.
So when Onana comes in tomorrow or the next day or the next week,
Yep.
um, that's our budget gone.
Yeah,
So
pretty much. Pretty much. Or if we believe what we're told, that yeah, that's pretty much the budget done. Um, yeah, and in this is the thing though. Like I know you want to leave it to the end, but until the ownership changes, I can't get excited about anything else. If I'm being honest, like even when we look at the window, it's not really signings that we need. It's them lot gone.
mm, I,
Ah,
d- I just I don't think new money is going to be available in this window. I'm afraid I said
yeah,
that
yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah, and that's the other thing as well. It's not even about the money for me. I just need the structure in place so that we start scouting and doing the right things. It's not even about the money. Because I know you've been paying attention as well to the ever increasing fee of Rasmus Hoyland. Uh, this past week we've had as much as 85 million. People have lost their minds. This is a guy who scored 9 goals last season.
Um, yes, it's out of control, but they know we're desperate.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, that's the thing. And this is why we need to have like backup options, alternatives, and United need to learn the art of walking away. Like look what happened with Man City. They were interested in Declan Rice. Not that they needed him. There was no sense of urgency, but they had a price in mind. And once Arsenal outbidded that, they didn't get into a bidding war. They just walked away.
Yeah. Yes. Whilst Haaland got 9 in Serie A, I think he had 10 overall. Now, because
Yeah.
because he, because he got so few goals, you can't be taking one off him now. They want to make it. They
I
want
think I think it was nine in 32 in Serie A. It was in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's only a 20-year-old player.
Yeah, he's only 20 years old. A hell of a lot of potential, but that's a lot of money to bank on for just potential.
Now I want to come on to something. Now that you mention him, I'm after like 2 weeks ago, I thought we probably will sign Hodgland. I thought that's going to happen. Now I'm
Yeah.
50-50. I'm not
Mm,
sure. Which brings me on to my next point. In 2020, we signed Cavani out of nowhere.
yep.
2021, we signed Ronaldo out of nowhere. 2022, we signed Casemiro out of nowhere. Could we possibly make a surprise signing up front in this window?
Absolutely. I think that could happen. That could very well happen, especially the later it gets into the window. But who that is, I have no idea.
No, it really is hard to even
Yeah.
pick a
Like
name.
even the Cavani one, it was a little bit random because Cavani was actually a free agent, like, for a good 2 months before we went in for him. So they could have just got him at the start of the window and sent him on preseason and, it would have been hunky dory, but even that was complicated. The
Because
Ronaldo one, literally last day, like 48 hours before he came, we thought he was going to City.
yeah, seemingly Fergie changed his mind.
Yeah, yeah.
So with with that in mind, you see what happens at United is that we don't. I know we've got our first choice goalkeeper and first choice midfielder,
Mm,
but what happens in these windows is that we don't get our first choice in every single position. So then
yes.
we have to look at Plan B and C and D, and that's why we get surprise signings. And I wouldn't be
Yeah, yeah.
surprised.
And yeah, that's the thing. But I think the one issue that I have with it is that when we do have the surprise signings, they tend to be on the older side and they tend to be short-term solutions. So it's not people that you can really build around. And just as we're getting a tune out of them, it's then time to move them on. So,
I
you're just
know, yeah,
always in a constant cycle of rebuilding.
yeah. We need to sign someone younger. Um,
Hmm.
the other day it just came up on I think Man United or the FA Cup Facebook page or something must have posted highlights of Norwich against United in June 2020. It was an FA Cup quarter final, I think.
Hmm.
Um, Gallo scored a great goal in that game. It was a goal that comes to him. He's on the edge of the 6 yard box. To score with his first touch, it has to be a side foot volley, and he executes it brilliantly. And I was just
Hmm.
thinking, if Fakehurst would not score that, he he would fall over, or he would miss the ball completely. Um, which 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 led me to think, why didn't we just get Gallo back on loan rather than
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
in Fakehurst on loan, because
I mean,
he's a far better player. Like, no, I'm talking. I know
yeah,
this sounds like nonsense, but if we were strapped for cash in January, nothing was
yeah,
available. You know,
yeah.
we should have got. I'd rather get someone who's a better player than just bring someone in who's Dutch, who was completely useless. Who's now.
I think this is the other thing, isn't it? When you haven't got the right structure in place and you're literally just relying on the manager to identify targets, obviously he's going to name people that he knows. And obviously
Uh,
there's that Dutch connection there.
yeah, but he won't even start for Burnley in this campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they keep him or if they sell him.
Yeah, he was just nowhere near good enough. Nice fella and all that, but he
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I mean, he's not even close to being at the level required. Like, not even close.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's what I mean. But we saw the goal scoring stats in Turkey, so perhaps a different league would be better suited to his abilities.
yeah, he had 1 and 2 in Turkey and 1 and 2 in Germany, so
Yeah, yeah,
maybe that should be where
yeah.
he
I think
plays.
that's what it is. I just don't think the English game is for everyone. We've seen
Yeah,
it even with better players than him, the likes of Sebastian Haller, who at West Ham really struggled, but then at Ajax he flourished.
yeah, but I do wonder how someone can score 1 and 2, and but when you look at him at United, he can't even finish simple chances.
Can't even hit the target or test the keeper. Yeah, it's a bit mad.
Couldn't hit a barn door. So yeah, I was just thinking, Galloway for me did actually really well in that short spell, and then was unlucky that Cavani came in, and then he never got a kick after that.
Yeah,
But he was
yeah.
a really good backup player, not only with some of the quality
I'll
goals that
tell
he
you what.
scored,
I'll tell you
but
what. At the time, I couldn't believe it because obviously it was it was the start of the pandemic and the COVID outbreak and all of that,
like,
and we got him
but
from China. I was like,
yeah,
what? This is a silly time to get him in,
but
because he had to isolate as well for a couple of weeks. I remember.
given the low expectations, I thought he did
Yeah,
pretty well.
yeah, yeah. I thought he did all right. We'll always have that one goal in the Europa, which was stunning.
Yeah, that was the one where Solskjaer turned to his assistant and
Yeah,
went,
yeah. That was.
um, yeah, yeah, I think I suppose what I'm trying to say is in past like January past there were much
Mhm.
better options available than Vegas. But
Yeah,
yeah, like,
absolutely. Yeah, we're in an odd position where beggars can't be choosers, but at the same time, we need someone who's more capable than what we've had in.
but okay, getting back to the present day, I'm just going to get into the comments here from Mickey. He says Johnny Evans is now better than Harry Maguire. I'm not even joking. And Johnny Evans has been training with Manchester United to keep up his fitness until he finds a new club. Now, I just throwing it right here. Now, some people might think I've gone nuts, but if Harry Maguire is sold, and given that he's fifth choice anyway, would you keep? Would you give Johnny Evans a 1 year deal to be your fifth choice centre back?
And on that note, I think I'm going to pour myself a drink, Kyle. The thought of a 36-year-old Johnny Evans. Oh, jeez.
Nah, I'm
No,
obviously.
no. I think no. I think the way to go is it's obviously going to be a rotational player that comes in. It's not going to be a starter. Whilst Varane's there on 300 plus K a week, I don't think there is an immediate need for a starter. But I'd like a young centre back, someone we can mould, perhaps, who can
Yeah,
grow into the role.
for someone to play that role where they're not playing many games, it's either going to have to be a youngster or someone at the end of their career.
Yeah, yeah. There's a player at Nice I like the look of, by the name of Jean-Claire Todibo. Um, he was at Barcelona before, and he played alongside William Saliba a couple years back when they were both on loan there.
Well, he would be easily transferable if any of us took over the club, you know. But let's see.
Well,
Um,
you'd think so.
yeah, Football Power Hour says big up everyone here and big up yourself. Realists is the same. Um, and that EOP guy Brush. Okay. And he says facts. We just spoke about that Brush Prem ain't for everyone. That's true. And guys don't do drugs. And I knew it was a mad one, and I'm not necessarily. I was asking the question rather than actually saying that's what I want. Um, but what do you make of Mickey's comment that he thinks even the current Johnny Evans is better than the current Maguire? Would you go along
Ah,
with that?
I mean, I don't know how serious he's being there. I'll tell you what. The only way to really break it down is we kind of look at his England performances. I guess there is a marked improvement when he plays for England. Even then, there are errors in his game, but it's better than it is for United. So I just don't think the club's suited to him. Honestly, I don't think he would be as bad elsewhere. He just needs to find the right fit for him.
Yeah, and I think that's why United are trying to charge a reasonable price for him because he's an England international. He does so well
Yeah.
for his country.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly, though, realistically speaking, I think his actual value is probably somewhere between 15 to 20 million upfront with potentially 5 to 10 in add-ons.
that's probably the deal that United will end up doing on deadline day.
Yeah, somewhere between that. So the overall total is somewhere between 20 to 30. Anything above that, I think, is pushing it.
I think United are just asking not only for the reasons you said,
Yeah.
aiming high and hoping to get, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. But even if we were selling at reasonable prices, I reckon, we've got enough that we could at least get back over 100 million in sales were they to competently
yeah,
move.
we'd have to make several sales, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
several sales. Yeah, the likes of Henderson, Maguire, yeah, Fred.
McTominay, yeah, McTominay, and
Yeah, potentially him if there's a really good offer on the table.
yeah, and that is very possible. But yeah, United not only are they saying they want 50 million for Maguire because you know they're aiming high in order to get maybe 60% of that, but because they paid 80 million for him as well, they don't want to
Yeah,
just let him
yeah.
go on the cheap.
Listen, I mean, we've made bigger signings and let them go for free. So,
Yeah,
yeah. So that is what can't happen. That's the only time when it's an absolute abject failure. We need to learn the art of balancing the books, and you need to start looking at net spend and those kind of things. So don't look at it as a complete loss, but you need to make sure you crawl something back because that's the thing with Pogba. Even with a year left on his deal, at that time we could have got 40 to 50 million for Paul Pogba with a year left on his contract. And if you do that, the net spend on Paul Pogba is about 40 million.
they could have got a decent fee for Lingard as well, and they
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
blew that
And
too.
the Herrera never should have been allowed to walk away for free. He was a player I really liked as well, actually, just
And
his
now
tenacity and what he offered us on the pitch and his attitude. Um, I remember
and
there was an interview as well, wasn't there, a little while ago, Carl, where he was speaking and he was in tears about leaving us.
yeah, but I mean he went to PSG for more money, so I'm not that sympathetic towards him.
Mm. But I mean, listen, I don't have an issue with the fact that he left. It's the fact that he walked out for free that I have a problem with. Again, it's an asset that we could have got minimum 20 million for.
Yeah, yeah, it's another one of those ones where he wasn't offered a contract at the very last minute, and he'd already
Yeah,
made his mind up to leave. He didn't feel
yeah.
valued, and he left. But I don't. While he was there, those 5 years, I liked him as a. Uh, I like his tenacity and his attitude and his.
Yes,
I didn't. I don't think he was.
at the level
I
required.
don't think he was outstanding. No.
Yeah, no, as a player, I do think he was somewhat limited at the, yeah, there's certain levels, but yeah, there was things that he offered that I did like.
And
But
we've
yeah,
let De Gea leave on a free as well. Um,
or the De Gea one, I kind of understand because who the hell is coming near those wages he was on?
yeah,
375 grand a week, highest paid
yeah.
goalkeeper
We
in
had
the
no
world.
choice. We had no
Hadn't
choice.
had no choice because
But
obviously, I think people
but
have
the,
discussed it as well. It's a bygone era of goalkeeper, isn't it?
but but yet again, it's another example of us not getting any fees for these big names, and they're just walking out
Yeah,
the door. You know,
yeah, yeah.
and this is why FAP has now become a major issue
Hmm.
for United. Um, I'm just going to come on to that now, actually. So over the weekend, there, Manchester United were fined 300 grand by UEFA for a minor
For
break-even
yeah.
deficit. Um, This United say this reflected a change in the way that UEFA adjusted for COVID-19 losses during the 2022 reporting period, which allowed us to recognise only 15 million euro of our 281 million euro of revenues lost due to the pandemic. United's fine is related to historic issues and previous FFP rules. The club insists it does not impact on the budget for transfers this summer. So, a minor breach of FFP rules and a fine was enforced, but United say it was because they were only allowed to recognise 15 million of the 281 that they lost during the pandemic. So, what's your thoughts on that, Rush?
Okay. I mean, it's a minor infringement, isn't it? I don't think we should dig too deep into it. It probably could have been avoided with a bit more competence, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not the most stimulating of football news, is it? But
No, no, it's not a significant fine either. So there's no real cause for concern for me there.
it's United are constantly briefing that they have to be careful about FFP this summer, and this is why they
Yes.
have 120 million to spend initially, and then
Hmm.
everything else
And this is why
is
the wage structure matters as well. That has a big impact on budget and things.
yeah, and everything else will be down to sales. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've already got 375 grand off the wage bill. There's more to come. We keep forgetting that Alanga and Van der Beek and the likes will leave the club this summer as well. I think
Well,
this.
yes. Again, I've heard rumours of Everton being interested in Ilanga, and the quotes were around 15 to 20 million. Listen, I'm laughing all the way to the bank if we get that for Ilanga.
Somehow we'll mess that up as well.
Donny, I'm not sure if we'll get a sale straight away just because he's been out of the game for a while. I could potentially see him going on loan, perhaps back to Ajax. I can see it being one of those loans that
Yeah,
then turns permanent.
you know, he wasn't good at Everton. He hasn't
Yeah.
done anything at United. I
If
just
there
don't
was
see.
any chance of a part exchange where we could send him back to Ajax, I think that would be the ideal outcome for me.
The only way, I think the only club who would take him is probably Ajax at this point.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably what his career needs, to be honest. I mean, players like Davy Klaassen went to Everton and didn't really shine, and went back home there and re-established himself. So yeah, maybe he can do that.
Yeah, I think it'll be either a loan or a very very modest fee.
Yeah.
Taking Van der Beek back to Ajax. I don't see any Premier League club coming in for him or the Liga
Nah,
clubs.
nah, neither do I, to be honest. Not at this moment in time where his stock is pretty low. Unfortunate as well because it is due to injury and just the fact that no one's seen him
And
play in ages.
we also keep forgetting that Bailly and Tellez are still on the books.
Yes.
They're not being invited to the US, which is not a surprise.
Mm,
Um, but what's interesting is that the club are willing to accept just 2 million for Eric Bailly. That's how bad
yeah.
things have got. That's how low his stock is now. But this is interesting line from Samuel Luckhurst is that he says United paid 13.8 million for Alex Telles in
Yes.
2020, so they're in no hurry to sell him because they feel they can make a profit on him. What you make of that?
A profit. I don't know about profit. I think would do well to get the best part of 10 million back.
Well, El Nazar, or I think it's Ronaldo's team, are
Yeah.
interested in Alex Telles, um,
Okay.
and United think that they can make a profit on him. I mean, if even if they bidded 15 million, that would be a profit on him.
Oh, that
So
would yeah, it'll be brilliant. Listen, I'll be laughing again. Um, but I mean, yeah, it's proper mental over there. What's happening in Saudi at the moment? There was reports last week that they've offered Jordan Henderson 700 grand a week. The mind boggles.
yeah, I won't get into that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because given everything that Henderson has said in the past, that's a
it's like going to an auction and then just outbidding everyone with the first bid.
yeah.
It's like they started the auction at zero, right? Go, yeah, this property is valued at 500k, and you just yell out, "I'll give you 700," and everyone's just there turning around looking at you like, "What?"
What really has frustrated me is that we're not doing business with these Saudi clubs as everyone else is, but we're not, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we
Yeah,
need
and
to
this is the
sell.
thing, Carl, because earlier on in the window, I was thinking, all right, fair enough. Chelsea are using, their contacts and they figured out a loophole. All right. And then I'm looking at some of the players. I'm like, all right, oh, this makes sense. Yeah. They're obviously targeting players of a Muslim background because they'll probably like fit the culture and everything else as well as the football. But yeah, no, they're actually just, they're spread betting. They're trying to get whoever they can. We are just not at the races, not at the right tables, not having the right conversations.
Yeah, we are so appalling at selling players.
Incompetence, sheer
I
incompetence. The likes of Ruben Neves are going there, and they're getting the best part of 50 million for him. Um, yeah,
I
there's no
seen
excuse really for us not to be involved in any talks or even to just, you know, uh, to be able to speak to the right people, to be able to speak to the agents, to try and, drum up interest.
I seen a quote on Twitter the other week that Manchester United could not even sell cold water in the desert. Um, that's how, and they're
Yeah,
probably right. Um, it's pathetic. And things have not improved. I mean, we are most of the way through July now, and United have not made a significant sale, and are struggling to
nope,
make their second signing.
yeah,
So it's just it's nothing's ever going to change, like you say, until there's a change of ownership and a change of board.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's been so bad that even the little things that we get, we celebrate to a different degree now. Like I was just happy the other week that Mason's arrived in time to go to preseason.
Yeah, yeah. I I just want to touch on that Leeds game in a wee second, but
Yeah.
before that, I want to ask you. I meant to ask you this earlier in the show. What if we were offered 45 million for Jadon Sancho? Would you take it?
Oof. It really depends on what the manager wants to do. Like if he had a clear idea of someone to bring in that he thinks would enhance the team, then I would probably consider it. Otherwise, I wouldn't. I think that's too much of a loss at this stage. But then again, I'll tell you when I saw what I saw at Leeds didn't really fill me with any sort of confidence either. I was kind of looking at that game. I know it's only a preseason friendly, but in terms of senior players, I was looking at how Mount and Sancho would link up, maybe with a little 1-2 here and there. And yeah,
And
he just didn't look turned on.
Sancho was shocking in the FA Cup final.
Yeah,
And we seen that performance from him quite a few times last season. Um, so Ten Hag was furious with him during the final.
I'll tell you what,
Um,
I kind of price him similar to Kai Havertz. And Kai Havertz, after the 3 years he's had, Arsenal, for whatever reason, paid 65 million for him. So if it was around that ballpark, then yes, I probably would cash in.
I mean, we paid 73 million for him.
Yeah, yeah.
His stock is going down, so I don't think we're getting anywhere near 65 million for him, to be honest with you.
But look at
Um,
Havertz though, like he's not exactly set the world alight, especially in the last 2 years.
yeah, but he was obviously number one target for Arteta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if Jaden were to go, I mean, the only one that makes sense for me is a return to the Bundesliga. Again, I just don't think the Premier League is the place for him.
maybe not, yeah. But who knows? Tottenham might make a late bid for him.
Mm.
And it certainly won't be in the 65 million mark, I don't think. Um,
Part exchange for Harry Kane. Wishful thinking.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. No, we talked about surprise signings at the end of the window. Don't rule that out.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, because I hear that Bayern are still very much interested. And if they seriously start talking to Bayern, I can very much see Harry being like, "Well, what about United?"
But apparently the price has been set now at 116 million euro. Um,
Okay, so that works out to be what, just what, it's still over 100, and somewhere between 105 and
Apparently,
110
anyway.
million, I think. Yeah,
Um, I still think that if he was given the choice between Bayern and United, he'd go to United.
yeah,
I know that might sound ludicrous because Bayern have been operating at the top table for a long time. They win the league every year.
yeah,
United
yeah. I
obviously
mean,
don't. But I think he
yeah,
wants to stay in England. Yeah,
yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I certainly wouldn't have hold it against him if he were to go to Bayern. A player of his caliber deserves to play in the Champions League season in, season out. And at Bayern, you would have a much
and
better chance of silverware.
yeah, and he'd be able to, you know, keep the love of the Spurs fans if you like if he goes to Bayern. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
I mean, do you think they'll hold it against him even if you were to go to a Premier League rival? Like he's given them so much. I don't think they'll be that
well,
upset, to be honest.
anyone I've spoken to, yeah,
Mm.
they've now said that he can go where he wants now. They won't hold it against
Yeah,
him.
I think
But still,
he's given them so much, and he's at an age where I think they probably feel a bit sorry for him. You know,
but Man United wouldn't be as offensive as going to Chelsea or Arsenal. But Bayern
I
would be
tell
even
you
less.
what, I
Bayern would be
tell you
less
what,
offensive again.
I could see him at Chelsea. Just because it's Pochettino.
Yeah, I just don't think Daniel Levy will sell to
Yeah,
Chelsea. And
yeah.
rightfully so if I was him. That would be now he would be public enemy number one now if he'd made that move.
Hmm.
That's for sure. But
The
just
only
come
thing
back.
that works against us, I think, is the fact that given his age, he would want to win immediately, right? And I'm not sure if we're geared up for that just yet.
Well, he
Although
might
he
be.
would push us
He might
closer.
be the difference. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, he could push us closer to that mark.
I think he would get 30 Premier League goals at United. Or
Mm,
the chances we create and don't put them away. If we end up in a situation where we don't have an adequate number nine next season, and he's got everything, all the other pieces of the jigsaw in place.
yeah,
If he gets Sonana and he already has Mount,
yep.
we're going to end up being like a Van Gaal United, like a Dulux version,
But
where
I'll tell you what, if
we
we are
play
on
we
a
play.
budget, if we are on a budget and we manage to fix everything else, could we not entice him to come next season on a free?
Yeah, we talked about that already. That would
Yeah.
be sound business, but we need something right now.
Oh, we
Um,
absolutely do. We need something, anything.
I don't want us to be, like I say, in a position this season where we're playing lovely football. It's great to watch, total
Hmm.
Dutch football, but no one's putting the ball in the back of the net. I
Yeah.
don't, and we're struggling to score goals. I really, really don't want that. I want this solved this summer. I want a number nine who's going to bang them in place, which is what we should expect at a club like Manchester United.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so yeah, come back to the original point. I think Keane would rather go to United because number one, he probably would prefer to stay in the Premier League, and number two, he can chase the Premier League record if he stays. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, it's all within sight now, isn't it? It's only a matter of time. If
and
he stays in the Premier League, it's only a matter of time before he
on number
eclipses
three,
Shearer.
winning a winning a Bundesliga title doesn't really mean anything to an English player from England, does it?
Listen, winning a league title is precious to anyone who's won nothing.
Uh, yeah, I'm sure it would be, but I mean, it wouldn't compare to winning the Premier League now.
I don't know. I think that's like a biased view, just because we believe our league is the
Oh no,
best.
no, no! I don't mean from like a fan point of view. I mean
Oh,
from an English player's point of
oh,
view.
okay, yeah, 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 yeah. Obviously, yeah. For a player who's played his whole career in the Premier League, yeah. I mean, that is probably the epitome of what they're working towards, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah, if he had a straight choice, I think he would stay and go to stay in England and go to United. Um, But let's see if United make a late dash to sign Kane if they haven't got anyone else by the end of the window. Maybe they'll make enough sales and they'll be able to splash the money that's required to get that over the line.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
what we're being told is that Daniel Levy is given Harry Kane an ultimatum that either you sign a new deal or we're going
Mm,
to sell you before the end of the window. So there could
yeah,
be legs in this one yet.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
We'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
So what I wanted to chat about next is the recent friendly against Leeds. I watched it in full,
Yeah.
um, and obviously I was looking out for obviously Mason Mount. I thought he had a very solid debut. Really, really
Hmm.
impressed with his technical ability on the ball, but also other players who stood out. Obviously, it was obviously one of those friendlies, and we're going to see this for the next few friendlies as well, where it's two different teams in each half.
Yeah.
Um, the player who got a goal and an assist, I really liked him. Um,
No Emeran.
yeah, yeah, he was very, very good now.
Uh,
Um, he took his finish very, very well, and then he provided assist for Joe Hugel, uh, which was a brilliant finish.
yeah.
Um,
Straight off the
ha-
training ground. That you could tell by the way he struck the ball.
um, yeah, I have to admit, Emeran had had not been someone that I was aware of before, but
Hmm.
he seems like a really good player, really good prospect. Um, and already there's reports of interest from other clubs to take him on loan. So yeah, even if he continues this form in preseason, I don't see him breaking into the first team this season. So
No, no, definitely not. But yeah, like you say, a loan move would be great to help develop these players. Someone who has been on loan who come back and played in that game is Hannibal. Hannibal looked all right in parts. Kobe Mano, I was quite impressed with.
yeah, I love the way Hannibal puts himself about.
Yeah,
Um, no more so than I think Leeds had a big opportunity. I think
the run, the track back, the tracky back he done, and he got involved. Are you talking about the tackle he made in defence? Yeah.
yeah, it was a last just tackle to prevent a Leeds
Yeah,
goal.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That was brilliant. Because in so many of those kind of situations, I've seen that the midfielder switch off or jog back, but he knew the assignment and he ran back and was very direct, and I like that.
yeah.
Um,
He's a big, strong boy, and
yeah,
he
yeah.
really wants to impress.
A little bit reckless in challenges at times. I think he gets a bit excited. I think you'll remember when, when
Come
he
on,
made that.
You sound like Ranić now. Come on,
I
that's what we
was
want from our
I was
turf.
going to talk about that game, yeah, because do you remember? Because that was the thing, isn't it? When he came on against Liverpool, it was like that. Yeah, no, exciting times. I just hope that one or two of these guys do get game time during the season. That's my worry.
Kobe Manu looks like you say like a real elegant
Hmm.
footballer. Um, he's the one out of all the players who played in that game that I think the Ten Hag rates the most. I think his minutes will increase this season.
Hmm.
I think we'll see him play in start League Cup games, maybe even start Premier League games at home to the newly promoted teams. If there's like dead rubber group matches in the Champions League, he might play those.
Yeah,
And then I could see him coming on as a sub in a lot of games as well. So I think Ten Hag really really rates him. He's only turned 18 as well. So um,
yeah, defo. The cup games, all of that. It's a good opportunity for these lads.
yeah, and he could learn from Casemiro by playing alongside him,
Mm-hmm.
and he could deputise for him as well. And if we're going to give him a rest, um, and Amad Diallo, he's under a lot of pressure now, isn't he, to take his opportunity on the preseason tour?
Yes,
Um,
yes, definitely. He had a solid year at Sunderland. It was a bit of a shame that Sunderland didn't get promoted because I was thinking, ideally, had they been promoted, it would have been great to keep him there, and he would have got a year of Premier League football under his
he,
belt as well as a first teamer.
yeah, and I think we need a direct competition for Anthony.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. No, most definitely. I've got no issues with keeping him, provided he gets plenty of opportunities. My only concern is probably based on last season when we saw Pelestri in flashes, even when he did really good. We just didn't see him again.
yeah, that was baffling. Yeah, Ahmad's under terrible pressure like he's got 7 games to impress the manager in pre-season.
Yeah.
Um, now he had so many attempts on goal against Leeds, but he just
Hmm.
couldn't get any of them on target. Maybe you could say he's trying a wee bit too hard, but yeah, I'd love to see him impress in pre-season and become part of the first team squad next
I've
season.
also had rumours as well, linking him with a potential loan to Atalanta as part of
Ah,
any kind of Hoyland deal.
United career's over then if that happens.
Mm,
There's no point in loaning him back to somewhere where we bought him from 3 years ago. He's
yeah.
never going to be in the United first team if that happens. That's game over for
Hmm.
me. I want to see him being part of the squad next season for at least one season. Let's see him be a regular part of the 20-man squad,
Yeah.
and let's see what he can do for at least one
And
season.
then
And then,
Palestri then has to go out on loan for me.
yeah, there's only room for one of them, I think.
Yeah.
Given that Anthony's first choice.
Yeah. Ilanga we're probably going to part with. So if we look at it, so you've got Rashford and Garnacho on the left. At the moment, you've got Anthony and Ahmad then on the right. Sancho kind of just drifting about everywhere, I guess. Provides cover for left and right
If he stays.
if he stays. Yeah.
See, he's not the manager signing, and I don't think the
Yeah.
manager's going to. Do you see if Anthony, for example, frustrated last season many times, but he's the
Hmm.
manager signing, so he gets a buy ball.
Yes.
Sancho was not signed by Ten
By the
Hag,
manager. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whenever he frustrates, then the manager's going to get fed up with him, and
Yep.
we've seen that. And when you're not the manager signing, you need to impress,
Hmm.
otherwise you're in trouble, and he
Yeah,
hasn't done that.
definitely.
Certainly not regularly enough, anyway. So if the right offer comes in, I think he would be for sale as well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean, both Greenwood and Ahmad have been linked with loan moves to Atlanta to facilitate the Rasmus Højlund deal. I did
Hmm.
probably don't see either of those things happening, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
they've even it's very hard to do those deals, to begin with. I don't see either of those players probably wouldn't be happy with that.
Yeah.
Um, and plus, the briefing is that Atalanta just want straight cash for the player,
Mm,
and
hmm.
but 85 million is absolutely
It's
absurd.
crazy, crazy money. I mean, if that
Um,
were the case, then we might as well switch our attentions to, other players that are available, potentially like Vlahovic.
what do you make of that one? Would you sign him?
I would, yeah. Obviously for a lot cheaper than 85 million, I would hope. But if we could get him for sort of 50, 60, yeah, I'd be happy with the profile of player. And Juve have got all kinds of issues going on, so it might be a bit easier to do business with them as well.
Yeah, but we haven't shown any interest in him at all. But maybe
No,
that could be the surprise signing that we
that could
talked
be the
about.
surprise. Yeah, that could be a surprise. That would be a surprise.
Now, last season, he got 14 goals in 42 appearances, 10 in 27 in Serie A.
Mm,
I think generally they didn't have a great season.
yeah,
Um,
he was
Points
also
up,
injured for
injured,
parts.
yeah.
Yeah.
And but d- I watched some of the Europa League semi-final,
Yeah,
Juve against
Sevilla.
Sevilla,
He scored
and
a
the
wonderful,
goal that
wonderful goal.
he scored
Uh
was
huh.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was a left-footed chip over the goalkeeper, I think,
Hmm.
when he was played through, and it was just an immaculate finish, and that shows the quality that he does possess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
The instincts that you can't really teach that. You've either got it or you haven't.
um, yeah, so I would definitely consider that one for the right
Yeah.
fee. You know,
Yep.
anything below or the 15 million euro mark, then I think that would be worth a deal worth doing. And then, like you
Yeah.
say, we could explore the possibility of taking Kane on a free next summer, if
Hmm.
that's still if there's still the opportunity to do that. Because
Yeah.
I do think we need to sign, and ideally, I would like to sign two strikers right now. But over the course of the next 12 months, we need to sign two
We
strikers.
need to sign two strikers. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah. Do you think? I know this will not excite any United fans. Well, most. Do you think if we're really desperate, we can't? Atlanta won't budge on the asking price that will make a late dash for Ollie Watkins. But even that one, I think
I
they'll try
I
and
can't
they'll charge
see.
big money. I
I
think.
can't see that just because of the kind of signings that Aston Villa are making now. It lets me know that they want to back Unai for a serious Europa League charge,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
probably their only proper out and out striker, right? Because Danny Ings
yeah,
is gone. He's gone to West Ham.
yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to lose him.
They'd have to replace him. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and how? Yeah, for a club like Villa as well, how do you replace him? You know?
a player
Uh,
that I'm a big fan of,
yeah.
um, who is not Ollie Watkins. I'm actually
Hmm.
not enthused by that at all. I'm
Hmm.
just putting it out there. But a player that I'm actually a big fan of is Ferguson at Brighton. And it's very early
Yes,
days
it's
in his
very
career.
early days. Very early days. Yeah, definitely one to keep your eye on. Um, I just want to see at least one full season where he's the main striker.
Yeah. Um, but even just this, the quality of his finishes, it really
Yeah.
excites me. If the ideal summer would be to bring in him and bring in Kane at the same time. That would be
Oh,
the per
yeah,
yeah.
that would be the dream. I
Yeah,
mean, even if you could get one now and the other next season, that would
yeah,
still make sense
yeah,
to me. But it's a difficult one. But yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on see how he develops at Brighton. They're so good at picking up these young talents. Him and there's another kid as well, Enciso, looked good in parts towards the end of the season.
yeah, yeah. He was fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, Brighton's hit rate is phenomenal.
Hmm.
Um, and just like you said, we wait for Bart Verbruggen to be the number one keeper in the world. Um, yeah. So I think we have covered just about everything there. Um, I expect Onana to be done in the next couple of days, maybe even tomorrow, and
Hopefully.
then we can move on to the striker, whoever that may be.
Yes.
Um, so I'm very much looking forward to the upcoming friendlies to get a look at the new signings, the
Hmm.
youngsters, and see who can break into the first team. And we play Lawns at Murrayfield on Wednesday. Very strange venue for a game for Man United against Leon.
Hmm.
Um, it must be
If you
just
look at the amount of the actual the tour in its totality, the amount of games when you geographically just the locations as well, you could tell there was no real planning, and they just added stuff in according to like they just saw numbers, they just saw dollar signs.
yeah. But I also think that Ten Hag has requested as all these games as well. He wants
Mm,
even like there's twice now. I think it's Wrexham and Madrid,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then the
yeah. 26th and
Bilbao.
27th, and then yeah,
No, sorry, sorry, I made a mistake there. We're playing Leon at Murrayfield.
yeah,
It's Lawns that we play in one of the final preseason games.
yeah.
But so we play Wrexham and Madrid in the same weekend, and then we play
Yeah.
Lawns and Bilbao in the same weekend. Now, Ten
Bilbao
Hag,
same weekend. Yeah,
we
that's
done this
August,
last
I think. 5
we
and
done this
6. Yeah,
we done this last preseason as well. Ten Hag likes to do this,
yeah, yeah,
where he
yeah.
has one squad for one friendly on the Saturday and another
Hmm.
squad for friendly on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So clearly he has his hands all over this preseason schedule as well. I think.
Mm. Hmm.
Um, but I mean, having games in New York and having games in Vegas is and California is,
Yeah.
you're. I mean, New York might as well be in a different country to
Yeah,
California.
yeah, and that's the thing because and the two games as well. That it's like Houston and San Diego. And I was
It's a
speaking to one of my guys over there, and he was like, "Hold on, like geographically, that doesn't even make sense because you're sort of backtracking on yourself, you know?"
yeah, yeah. It's a lot of air miles, a lot of jet lag, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lot of back and forth and crisscrossing instead of just like from
They did
A
this
to
before.
B kind of.
Did this before as well. They're playing a game in like San Jose, and then they're playing a game in Detroit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
3 days later is ridiculous.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, yes, players are going to be tired, aren't they? I suspect. Do you know? I was thinking you brought up a very good point. It's going to be an entirely different 11. I don't think on either of the days like you're going to see the same players for more than 45 minutes at a time.
no, lots of managers do that. They don't play. Well, players are just back for preseason. They don't play 90 minutes. They just play
Yeah, yeah,
45.
exactly. 45. Yeah.
It's a gradual
Yeah, because
process.
that's the thing as well, isn't it? Because you do have to keep in mind the amount of fans that come out to these things. So I don't think they'll completely be a new 11, of just kids. I think it'll be a mix and match.
Eventually, once you get to like the fourth or fifth game of preseason,
Hmm.
players will start to play 60 or 70 minutes before they're subbed
Yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially the more senior guys, because you'd want to
Yeah.
get them match fit.
Yeah, and it's great to see Licha back as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know about the haircut though. The
Oh,
bleach
they're all
blonde.
down her blonde now. It's
They're
ridiculous.
all doing it bleach blonde now. But
Um,
yeah, I did see some lovely footage of him speaking with Mason Mount's dad, showing him around. That was nice to see.
yeah, and when Mason Mount was there
And
on the day that he
yeah,
joined the club, he was meeting fans as well, and
yeah,
you like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I did like that. And in terms of Leacher meeting him, for me, that's captaincy qualities right there that he's demonstrated.
Yeah,
Um,
because they had a bit of an orgy bargy last season, didn't they?
yeah, 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 yeah. In the fixture, it was very fiery. So the fact that he's gone round, been one of the first to introduce himself, and that
And
it speaks volumes.
I think Leach made a joke about it as well.
Yeah,
We were enemies and now we're friends.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So that's nice to see. And you just touched on something there about Mason greeting fans and things. I saw some footage the other day, which wasn't great of him. I think he was walking home or something, and he was being hounded by a bunch of guys who just wanted him to sign shirts. Um, and I think it was the case that he had already signed shirts like a few days before, but these guys were back. Um, yeah, there's always a minority that's going to ruin it for the masses, and there's going to come a time where I think there should just be like an allocated time slot for shirt signings and things, and then once you leave the ground, I think players should just be left alone. To be honest, especially if you're like a grown adult chasing after players, it's a bit crazy.
According to the club statement, these guys are professional autograph hunters who
Yeah,
want players to sign multiple
so they can
items and
sell
then
it
sell them
on.
on eBay. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's a nonsense. It's an absolute
yeah, but they're
nonsense. We
not
need
they're
to.
not fans. They're just businessmen.
Yeah, yeah, we need to cut that out. Players need better protection for that kind of thing. They can't be
Yeah,
hounded outside stadiums.
and what's happening is they're blocking the entrance of cars into the training
Yeah,
ground, and
yeah.
then when players want to stop and sign autographs for
Mhm,
kids and take
mhm.
pictures, then these guys come over and they're in their faces, and you're like,
Yeah, nah, it's yeah,
it ruins
and
it,
that's
ruins
what
it for
I
everybody.
mean. And yeah, exactly, that's what I mean. So eventually, there's going to come a time where you're going to have like an allocate time slot, and outside of that, you're going to have to take a stance where you say, nope,
Yeah,
no
they
more.
yeah, they're ruining it for everybody, and
Yeah,
you know,
I can understand if it was kids running up to him, but grown adults, no, leave it out.
yeah, yeah, they're doing it just because they want to make a profit. They want because
Yeah,
they pretend I only want you to sign one item, and then they're like, no,
yeah,
do this, sign this, sign this, sign this, sign this, and the
yeah,
player
yeah.
can't get away then. And to actually stalk a player at night time, he probably felt unsafe there
Crazy.
as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like when I saw that footage, I was like, yeah, nah, the club needs to do something about this. Like, players
Yeah,
need either security or to be chauffeured out of there because this is ridiculous. You can't have that.
they said the club have said in their statement that if this continues, they're going to take action.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
be
they absolutely need to. Yeah, the players deserve protection, and it must be yeah, quite a scary thing as well because
and
you don't know what these people are capable of. You can't just
yeah,
go running up on people
yeah,
at any time of day, um, like that in numbers.
yeah. Like he was on his own at night time and being surrounded by four guys. That's very
Yeah, yeah,
intimidating. Very
yeah, yeah,
intimidating.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I didn't like that at all.
no, that was completely wrong.
Hmm.
But it's good that it's been highlighted now, and maybe something will be done about it.
Most
Um,
definitely.
yeah. So we shall leave it there this weekend. If everyone could please subscribe to the channel, drop us a like on the video, and get more of your
Oh,
comments from
and
down below.
one final thing before we leave, I just wanted to send all the well wishes to Edwin van der Sar and the van der Sar family.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's not in a life-threatening position. He's stable,
Yeah,
and it looks like he's going to make a full recovery. So that's good.
yeah, yeah. So he's resting up in that now. So yeah, because that was horrible news when it broke about a week and a half ago. Um, yeah, especially in light of all the goalkeeping stuff that's been going on at United as well.
Now, I think Fergie suffered something similar,
Hmm.
and I mean, and Edwin is 30 years younger, so he had a good chance
Yeah,
of
yeah,
survival.
yeah. Most definitely. Like, yeah, a bleed on the brain is it? It's not a pleasant thing. So yeah, yeah. Hopefully, he makes a full recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'd love to see him in the director's box working for Manchester United someday.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you later then, Brush.
Take care.